Now, let's proceed to Thomas Aquinas. Let us know more about him, his noble works, and especially his perspective about self and identity. Thomas Aquinas, or also known as Saint Thomas Aquinas, was an Italian philosopher that was born on the year of 1224 and died on the year of 1274. He was the most eminent 13th century scholar and stalwart of the medieval philosophy, appended something on the Christian view. He developed his own conclusions from Aristotelian premises. When we say Aristotelian premises, it was the philosophy of Aristotle and those philosophical movements based on his thoughts and ideas, meaning to say most of the works of Aquinas was adapted on the ideas of Aristotle. Saint Thomas Aquinas was the greatest of the scholastic philosophers. Scholastic or scholasticism is the philosophical systems of various medieval Christian thinkers working against a background of a fixed religious dogma sought to solve a new general philosophical problems. He produced a comprehensive synthesis of Christian theology and Aristotelian philosophy that influenced a Roman Catholic doctrine for centuries and was adopted as the official philosophy of the Church in the year 1917. When it comes to his noble works, his best-known works are The Disputed Questions on Truth, the Summa Contra Gentiles, and the unfinished but massively influential Summa Theologica, or also known as Summa Theology. Summa Theologica, or also known as Summa Theology, is a systematic compendium of theology written by Thomas Aquinas between 1265 and 1273. He intended it to be the sum of all known learning as explained according to the philosophy of Aristotle. Next is the Summa Contra Gentiles. Summa Contra Gentiles shows the importance of this work for the relation of faith and philosophy, the meaning of personhood, and the desire of God. According to Aquinas, man is composed of two parts, matter and form. Matter, or hyle in Greek, refers to the common stuff that makes up everything in the universe. Remember that man's body is part of this matter. Next is form. Form, or morphe in Greek, refers to the essence of a substance or thing. In the case of the human person, the body of the human person is something that he shares even with animals. Aquinas began his theory of self-knowledge from the claim that all our self-knowledge is dependent on our experience of the world around us, meaning to say, experiences become a part of our identity. Life is a continuous chain of experiences. It is the key ingredients to know more about ourselves. These experiences are both good and bad, but help us to live a more educated and productive life. Aquinas argues that our awareness of ourselves is triggered and shaped by our experiences of objects in our environments. It simply means that the things that we experience or have done in the past defines how we see ourselves today. For example, you know that you excel in math in your school, so when someone asks you to describe yourself, you probably include that you're good in math since you yourself know that you excel in that particular subject. Your own observation or experiences are one of the factors that shape our own self-concept. For Aquinas, we don't encounter ourselves as isolated minds ourselves, but rather always as an agent interacting with our environment. Meaning to say, we don't just live by and for ourselves, but rather we continuously socialize and interact with our surroundings. And now, let us proceed to our next philosopher, which is René Descartes. Let us know more about him, his noble works, and especially his perspective about self and identity. As one of the most philosophers of all time, René Descartes is considered by the West to be the father of modern philosophy. He conceived of the human person as having a body and mind. Although Socrates is often described as the father of Western philosophy, the French philosopher René Descartes is widely considered the founder of modern philosophy. René Descartes was born in the year of 1596 and died in the year of 1650. He was a French philosopher and mathematician, credited as a foundational thinker in the development of Western notions of reason and science. In his famous treatise, The Meditation of First Philosophy, he claims that there is so much we should doubt. Along with his contributions to math and sciences, Descartes is firmly linked to dualism, a concept he discusses in his first work, The Meditations on his First Philosophy. When we say dualism, it is the concept that reality or existence is divided into two parts. When discussing dualism in the context of the humanity, this division is between the mind and the physical body. In other words, the mind is separate from the empirically studied physical attributes of the body. His philosophy was built on the idea of radical doubt. in which nothing that is perceived or sensed is necessarily true. The only thing that remains true that there is a mind or consciousness doing the doubting and believing its perceptions. Hence, the famous formulations, I think, therefore I am, or in Latin, da cogito ergo sum. This formulation means that if you're able to think, you will exist. A philosophical proof of existence based on the fact that someone is capable of any form thought necessarily exists. For Descartes, self is a combination of two distinct entities, the cogito, the thing that thinks, which is the mind, and the extensa, or the extension of the mind, which is the body. In Descartes' view, the body is nothing else but a machine that is attached to the mind. Because, like everything else in the world, the body could only be sensed because there was a mind that was working to sense it. According to him, but what then am I? A thinking thing. It has been said, but what is a thinking thing? It is a thing that doubts, understands, affirms, denies, wills, refuses, that imagines also and perceives. This statement from him, it's evident of itself that it's he who doubts, who understands, and who desires that there is no reason here to add anything to explain it, and he have certainly the power of imagining likewise, for although it may happen that none of the things which he imagined are true, nevertheless, that power of imagining does not cease to be really in use and its form part of its thought. He believed that perception is neither an act of vision, nor of touch, nor of imagination, but only an intuition of mind, which may be imperfect and confused, or clear and distinct. Let us remember the things that readers find valuable in Descartes' works have changed over the centuries. We have seen that its natural philosophy had an immediate impact that lasted into the 18th century. That's all for my report. I hope that you learned something about the perspective on self and identity of Thomas Aquinas and René Descartes. If you have something to ask, just comment down below. Thank you and have a nice day.